Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Lindsay and this is Waldorf Inspired Roots, where we share our Waldorf inspired homeschool journey and family adventures. I'm so excited to share today's video because we're going to be talking about our family's future homesteading goals and plans, what we're doing to prepare for that, and I'm also going to introduce you to two adorable bunnies that we are going to be adopting, and they should be ready to come home in a few weeks. And we also would like your help in naming them. So if you like this video and want to follow our journey, please like and subscribe and say hello down in the comments. We have a lot going on right now in our family. We are currently planning a trip to go to the state that we are considering moving to. We have been looking for a while and researching for a long time to figure out what, states have some of the things that are on our checklist, and to see which states check off the most boxes that are on our checklist. And we have settled on a couple, but one that is very far our front runner. So without further ado, we are going to be taking a trip in June to go to Texas. So that's the number one state that we're considering. Now, some of the things that are on our checklist that made us choose to start looking into Texas include our number one box that needed to be ticked for sure is the homeschool laws. Now, there are other states that we would consider that have, I would say, relatively lenient homeschool laws, but our thing is that we don't want to move anywhere that has homeschool laws that are any more restrictive than what we currently have in Nevada. And Nevada is pretty lenient. There's some laws that may or may not be changing. We're crossing our fingers here in the homeschool community that they don't. But Texas, their homeschool laws are actually more lenient than here. And you're a lot more free to educate your kids, how you see fit, which is what we obviously want. That's, in my opinion, our parental right to educate our kids the way that we think they need to be educated. And so that's our number one thing. Now, another big one on our checklist was the greenery and the foliage. I grew up literally in the middle of the woods on a dirt road in a cabin on a lake in Michigan. And I loved every aspect of that. And I always wanted that for my kids. I know my older son, who is 15 now, I wasn't able to, that just didn't work out for us. But I do want him to experience that as much as possible. And so for me personally, that was high up on the list, is having big trees, shade trees, climbing trees, a lot of property, which is another thing that, for those of you who don't know, we currently live in the Las Vegas area. And my parents moved me here to live closer to my grandparents when I was 14, after my grandparents on my father's side passed away. My mom wanted to live closer to her family. And so we moved here, and I've just never acclimated. The desert is really hard for me, but I also haven't acclimated very well to city life, although there are perks. Living in a city, having things open 24 hours a day, having the convenience to drive to, the gas station, which is literally a minute and a half away from here, to pick up, whatever, or the grocery store, which is pretty much 24 hours. Those are all great, and I definitely will miss those, but not more than I miss living somewhere where I have wide open spaces and trees and greenery and animals and all those things, bodies of water, being able to swim in a lake and fish and boat and things like that. So anyways, that was number 2. And my husband, he grew up for part of his childhood in Hawaii. That's where he was born. And then he was a military family, so they moved around. But a lot of the places that he primarily grew up, there was greenery and things like that as well, until they moved here when he was, I think, middle school-ish or something. And he has an uncle who has a farm in just outside of Honolulu, near Waianae. But anyways, so their farm, he grew up loving that, and he kind of always wanted to do that. And then a lot of his other relatives garden, and he has another aunt and uncle who live in Okinawa, Japan, also military. And, they are huge gardeners. Their garden is enviable. I wish we could garden that well. Hope to get there someday. So that's kind of us. That's what we've always wanted, and we've talked about it extensively over the years. And we really want to be more self-sustainable. We want to grow our own food, raise our own animals, a cow for milk and chickens, things like that. And obviously garden on a bigger scale. Here where we live in a townhouse. And so I'm sure you can imagine our backyard is, I don't know, if I had to guess, maybe 40 feet by 40 feet, maybe, if we're lucky. And so it's very small. We garden to the greatest extent that we can in the amount of space that we have. But the other thing is, no matter where you go, sorry, I've got a hair in my eye. No matter where you go in this city, if you want anything more than the size yard that we have, or slightly bigger, you can get obviously yards that are maybe 4 times the size of ours. But again, that's a 1/16 of an acre maybe, or an 1/8, I think, if you're lucky, which is really hard to find. People buy them up really quick, and you're going to pay good money for a house that has a decent sized yard. And with where our budget is, or where we'd like our budget to be and things like that, there's no way that we could ever get the amount of land that we want. We want acres, and we want to have the animals and space for our kids to run around, and have at least just an acre just for gardening and all the animals that I talked about, but also maybe some ducks and a pond that we can fish that's on our property, or at least live near enough that we can do that regularly. I don't want to live in a city anymore. And so with all of those things being said, we have looked elsewhere. Texas is where we're thinking. Middle of June, I believe, we're going to take a trip there just to check it out, because neither my husband or I have actually ever been. And we also, my dad and all of us, we all live together. And so we all need to make this decision together. My dad isn't as keen on moving, just because he's used to here and things like that. But he definitely understands what we want for our kids and what we want for our family, and of course he wants to be part of that. So we're all going to go together, and his number one thing on his checklist was he doesn't want to deal with snow. So which actually is comical this year. If you watch the news, then the blizzard that San Antonio and the Texas area got. So we actually were laughing. We're like, don't let my dad see the the news. But since that's not normal for them by any means, and it doesn't typically snow there, especially more than a dusting is what would be typical on occasion, you know, that's where we're thinking. Another state that we have considered in the past was Tennessee. I think for me, the greenery and things like that look similar to Michigan, which is where I'm from, and of course I'm like craving to get back to that minus the snow. And there's parts of Tennessee that it doesn't really snow a whole lot either, the Nashville area. So we have considered that. My only issue with that are the homeschool laws. They're a lot more strict than they are here, and obviously we're trying to at least stay the same, but I mean, if we can get less strict, that obviously is even more ideal, so that we can, the less, you know, you have people telling you what to do when it comes to educating your own kids is golden. So that's kind of where we're at. Now, to prepare for that, my two sons and myself have been going to a local small farm that is right down the street from our house, actually. And they are on 1.8 acres, and so we're just kind of seeing what they're able to fit into that space and how they fit that into that space, and trying to get used to how to care for the animals, because no one in our family actually has really any experience caring for animals other than, you know, household pets, dogs, cats, things like that. So it's all new to us. So we're actually really excited to bring you guys along this journey, just to see how, you know, if any of you have been interested in this kind of thing ever. It's definitely a learning experience for us that we are so excited about. And some of the animals that they have on the farm that we visit are horses. They have 2 camels. They have a llama. They have quite a few bunnies. They have a lot of chickens. They have pheasants, ducks, geese, turkeys, homing pigeons, macaws, quite a few cows, Dexter cows specifically, with calves. They have quite a few calves also. And what am I missing? They have pigs. I feel like I'm missing some things, but that's the primary animals that they have. And I will put in a clip of us helping on the farm right now.
Yeah. Okay.
How are you doing today, Bessie? Well, good morning to you too. So as you can see, there's a lot of opportunity for us to learn about, you know, some of the animals that we're hoping to have, and we're also learning what animals we maybe don't want. And also having animals with a purpose. For example, the reason why we're getting 2 rabbits, which we'll talk about in a minute, is because the manure from rabbits is amazing for gardening, and it's also not hot, so you can directly, you know, use it to amend your soil without having to compost it first. So, you know, that's why we chose rabbits, and they definitely have an endless supply of manure, and the amount of manure for just a couple rabbits is enough to definitely sustain amending your soil for a garden, even when we get on a bigger scale. Although we're starting with 2 just to learn how to care for them, but we will obviously get more, and we don't know the gender of the 2 that we're getting. And actually, I'll put a clip of the 2 that we're getting right now. Aww. Are you gonna give it a kiss? Aww.
That.
Yeah, is that the mama? Those are our 2 bunnies that are out, the 2 little babies. Are those our 2 bunnies? Don't let them out. You see it? So those are the two bunnies we're getting. So cute. We're so excited. They're adorable. We don't know the genders of them yet. They are only 3 weeks old right now. So they're too young. I think between 8 and 10 weeks is when I was told they can be gendered. And so if they are both girls, then we'll keep them together. If they are both boys, we'll keep them together unless we have issues with them fighting or whatever down the line, which I heard as long as they're from the same litter. Is it a litter? I'm not sure actually. I'm sorry. I'm not sure the terminology, but if they're from the same litter or whatever of bunnies, then if they grow up together, they usually don't have the same issues. Or if they are from litters that are, when they're young, if you introduce, bunnies together, they usually will do okay. So, if they're both the same gender, then we'll keep them together unless we have issues. If they're separate genders, then we will have the boy and the girl separate, but we'll probably get one more girl from this litter. There's 7 babies, I think. Yeah, I think 7. And we chose 2, the 2 that I just showed you. And so, we may choose one more, but then the farm that we go to also has some more baby bunnies that are due any day. So they'll be close enough that we can always pick from that litter or whatever also. So we'll see. We're not really sure what's going to happen with that. But we don't have names picked out for them. We thought it would be kind of fun to hear you guys' thoughts and ideas. So with that being said, if you guys want to drop in the comments any name ideas that you have, again, we don't know the gender, so maybe pick 2 girl names and 2 boy names. And if I get enough comments, we're hoping to choose from those names just to make it fun, and then we'll announce what names we chose. So hopefully, please leave your comments. We're super excited to see, what you guys can come up with. So yeah, leave those in the comments. And like I said, if we get enough and we're able to actually generate something of a list, then we'll go through and choose from that. So we'll see what happens. Help us out. And so that's kind of what we're doing. And then we'll probably announce that within the bunnies will be ready to bring home between 6 and 8 weeks, she said, and they're 3 weeks now. So within the next month-ish, 5 weeks, we should be able to bring them home. But we will announce in the next couple weeks. We'll probably give it a couple weeks to get comments and choose then, and I will put a video out for that. The other video that I want to do, and let me know if you guys would even be interested in this, is a video showing us building the bunny hutch. The farm that we are on, as you saw in the video, the bunnies are outside, and she keeps them outside year round, even though in Las Vegas it gets really hot. She just has misters going, and they're under the shade and things like that, and that seems to work for her. So we do have a shady spot. We do have a patio cover. We can install misters. We're out there all the time. So we'll see how it goes. We may bring them in, and we have a spot kind of already set up, or a spot available to bring them in if we need to. But I want to film us making the hutch and see how that project goes. We're excited, but we're still trying to find some plans and things. So when we start making that, which will probably be next week, we'll film it, and if it, we're able to get good footage and things like that, I will try to make a video and post that if you guys want to see that. Let me know in the comments if that's something you would want to see. And then, just all the preparations for bringing the bunnies home, how we set up their habitat and the different fun things that we get them, and their beds and all the fun stuff. Our trip to PetSmart or Petco will be fun, I'm sure. And then I also wanted to leave in this video, just really quick, I did post a video Monday, I think, or I can't remember, I think Monday, and it was our plans and how I'm planning my 9th grader my current 9th grader, how I'm planning his 10th grade curriculum and how we're incorporating as much of the Waldorf philosophy as we can into his high school plans and curriculum. It's actually really hard to find resources I've found for high school, and I'm not sure why that is. There are Waldorf high schools, but there actually aren't as many Waldorf high schools as there are elementary and middle school. A lot of Waldorf curriculum choices for homeschool stop at 8th grade. A lot of Waldorf schools stop at 8th grade. I have just found it really hard. I found a few really good resources, but very, very limited amount of resources for high school. And so my goal in making those videos and my channel in general, one of my goals is to try to show or share what we're doing and how we're incorporating Waldorf into our high school to hopefully be another resource as we kind of work our way through figuring this out. If you guys can get any inspiration or whatever from my journey trying to navigate this, I would love to share anything that I find, anything that I put together. If it gives you guys any inspiration or ideas, yay, that's what I'm hoping for. So with that being said, I had a comment on that video that I was just talking about, and also I have an Instagram, which is at Waldorf Inspired Roots on Instagram, and on there I had a couple comments too with people asking, saying, I can't wait to see your videos with your curriculum choices and your resources. So I wanted you guys to know there were a few things that were back ordered that I've been putting things together. We always put together our curriculum. When taxes come, we allocate a certain amount of money for homeschooling for the following year, and then I start my plans right around this time so that throughout the summer we can, if we pull some other things we can casually, but like the actual planning is already done. We don't have to worry about it. We can enjoy our summer. So that's kind of how we do things here. But so beginning this weekend, I'm going to start filming videos on our curriculum choices, but it's going to get to be way too long if I try to fit it all into one, and it'll be so much information. So what I think I'm going to do is film by subject. So like for American history, for example, he has 4 unit blocks for American history that talk about different time periods in American history. And so like I'll share what those 4 blocks are and how I'm breaking them up and what our resources are, what our main curriculum, we do have a textbook just to kind of keep us on the right path, but then I have all these other projects and games and things like that to pull in to tie it all together. So like American history would be one. He's doing geometry next year, so that would be a completely other video. What's going to be in his morning basket? He's doing a Spanish class. He's doing chemistry and a geology class. And so I can tell you, like, for each class, what we're doing, what we're using, what my other resources are, how I found them. I'll link all the things below. So it'll be in parts, basically, is what I'm saying. And so start looking for those. I think for the next couple weeks, that's going to be what most of my videos are. And so I'm really excited to film those, and hopefully I can, give you guys some good resources that you guys can use if you guys are planning high school for your kids. And yeah, so I think that's it. So don't forget to leave your comments below with bunny names, 2 boy, 2 girl, if you can, for the 2 that are in there, because we don't know what gender. And also let me know in the comments if there are any other videos that you want to see, if there's any videos that you are excited about seeing, or anything that I've talked about that you want to know more about, so that I know what direction, to take my future videos. That would be awesome. So I hope you guys like this video, and I hope you guys join me next time. We'll see you later. Bye.